Today I want to talk about my 3-bag method for carry-on travel and why it works so well for me. And the mysterious third bag is just a packable bag like this one or like this one, so everything is still carry-on approved. And I know that many of you bring packable bags to use them as a day bag at your destination, but the biggest benefit for me is how I can use packable bags during those travel days. I can travel compact if I need to, but also at the same time maximize my carry if I'm about to board a plane. And it even helps me to get around some of those tricky weight limits of airlines for international flights. So using my 3 bags strategically really made my travel days much easier. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through my travel bag evolution, how I started with 1 bag travel, but at some point ended up carrying 3 different bags. I'm going to show you exactly which bags I use and how I use them. I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why this method works so well for me, and I'm also going to share a few downsides that you should know about. When I started traveling carry-on only a few years ago, I thought that the holy grail was really to fit everything into a single backpack. But after countless trips, I realized something, and that is that for me, traveling with only 1 bag is really not that practical, especially on those days where you are on the move all the time. I felt like I was glued to my backpack the whole time, and I had to bring everything with me all the time, even though sometimes I only needed a few things out of that bag. And to be honest, I never really felt completely secure to really keep all my valuables on my bag, especially my wallet and my passport. And I know that some bags have passport pockets and stuff like this, but to me, they just don't feel secure enough. And then the next thing is that on those travel days, I found myself constantly repacking and getting my things in and out of that bag. So for example, when I was flying, it was not really practical because my main bag landed in the overhead compartment, and then I had no practical way to store all those valuables and little things that I wanted to have with me on my seat. So after a few trips, I switched to traveling with 2 bags. So I still carried my carry-on sized backpack, but I also brought the personal item sized bag with me. And that worked very well on flights because now I had a secure bag to keep my things with me in my seat, but it was not the perfect solution again. So for example, trying to squeeze through the hordes in Rome on a busy Sunday afternoon, or just walking with my things in the backcountry in Brazil to get to the bus station or something, with a big backpack and a full-sized personal item was just too bulky and a little bit too much of a hassle for me to carry. So at that point, I started to travel with 1.5 bags. And 1.5 bag travel is just a variation of 2 bag travel, but instead of bringing a full-sized personal item bag, I just brought a smaller bag with me. So I started to bring a sling bag, and it's just the perfect size to keep my valuables on me at all time, and I can also carry it at the same time as my backpack quite comfortably. But even traveling with the sling bag, I always felt like there was something missing, because there is always an overflow. There's always something extra that I pick up on those long travel days. For example, enough water and food and snacks for a long bus or a long train ride. And I also have a few larger valuables. For example, this packing cube where I keep the gear that I need to film my YouTube videos, and also my iPad. And those things did not fit into a sling. And that's when I started to use my 3rd packable bag for those travel days. In the past, I often used it as my day bag when I arrived at my destination. And while this is great, for me, the genius of the packable bag is really how they can be used during those travel days. So it gives me the flexibility to travel compact, but at the same time, I can also expand my space and I can bring exactly what I need when I need it. So now let's talk about which bags I bring and how exactly I use them. My main bag is still a carry-on sized backpack that holds most of my things. And as you know, I'm still searching for my perfect travel backpack. And if you want to see which bags I already tested, I will link the playlist to the other videos below. I usually prefer lightweight bags with less organization inside, and I use packing cubes to organize my things inside my backpack. So I don't use packing cubes for space saving, but really for organization. And then I use the packing cubes to strategically arrange the things inside my backpack. So for example, I always make sure that my tech pouch is easily reachable inside the backpack, or also that I can easily reach my toiletries when I have to go through airport security. Then I can grab it quickly and move it into my packable bag. So then only some less valuable items like clothes, dirty socks, some toiletries, maybe some extra shoes remain in that main backpack. And if someone would steal my backpack now, then yes, it would be annoying because my clothes would be gone, but it's nothing there that could not be easily replaced. And then I don't need to worry about my main backpack anymore, which is very important for me because on travel days, I regularly get separated from my backpack. But I will talk more about that in a second. The second bag is my sling bag, and that's where I keep all my valuables, like my passport, my wallet, and my keys. My current favorite is a 2-liter sling bag, the Alpaka Flight Sling, but honestly any small fanny bag or sling or handbag will do. The big advantage for me for traveling with this small sling bag is that I have one dedicated place for all my valuables and I don't have to fumble through my backpack anymore or worry all the time that I will leave something behind. And that gives me a lot of peace of mind that my most valuable things are always with me and safe and secure. The third bag in my system is my packable bag, and I already have 3 different options, and depending on the trip, I choose which one I bring. My first option is the Peak Design Packable Tote. It's a 12-liter tote bag, weighs 82 grams, and I like it very much because it has a zipper on top to secure my things and also has this kind of anti-slip material on the handle. My second option is this ultralight backpack from Osprey. I bring it when we plan to do a lot of hiking because it's basically a full backpack with 2 bottle holders. It's an 18-liter backpack and it weighs 148 grams. And my third option is this nano bag, and it's the one that I prefer to bring when I travel ultralight. It's a 19-liter grocery bag and it only weighs 26 grams. It does not have a zipper, but I usually just tie the handles to secure my things inside. And all these 3 options are extremely lightweight, and when I put them into my carry-on backpack when I don't need them, I barely notice that they are there. So now let me give you a quick example on how I would use this packable bag to flexibly repack my things on travel days. And I think the best example would be to just a day where I'm about to fly. Before a flight, I just grab my packable bag and then I put my larger valuables inside, so my iPad and also my tech kit. And as I mentioned before, I always have those 2 things easily accessible in my backpack, so I always make an effort that they're right there when I open the zipper, so I can quickly grab them and put them into my packable bag. If on that day I go directly from my accommodation to the airport, I often already do this step in the hotel. And then I also add my toiletries already into my packable bag because that makes going through airport security much easier. I also add my pouch that I have with a few in-flight comfort items and my medications and stuff. And I also pack my entire sling bag inside. So I really make good use of that personal item size. And when it's time to board the plane, I just put my backpack in the overhead compartment and I slide my packable bag under the seat in front of me. Now I have all my valuables and everything that I need to be comfortable right there at my feet, and I don't need to worry about my main backpack anymore until I land. And after the flight, when I'm on the move again and these 2 bags get too annoying, then I can just put all those things from my personal item back into my main backpack and just put my sling in front of me, and then I'm on my way. So now let's talk about 5 reasons why this works so well for me. The first reason is that I have to worry a lot less about my main bag because, as I already mentioned, there's many situations when traveling where I get separated from my bag. Sometimes we are forced to check our big bags at the gate when the plane is too full, or when you go on a long bus ride, it's very common that you have to put your main backpack in the compartment underneath the bus, or on train rides, the racks for the luggage are usually at the entrance area. I just want to be able to leave that backpack somewhere and not have to worry about it constantly, and also not worry about repacking all my stuff every time I need to separate from my main bag. So that's why for me, just grabbing those 2 larger valuables from the main backpack and transferring it into my packable bag works so well. This system really gives me the freedom to just say, okay, take my bag, that's fine. Reason number 2 is safety and peace of mind. Especially in buses and in trains, everybody could just grab my bag and walk away at any stop. But with this method, if someone would steal my bag, they would really just get a few dirty socks and some toiletries, which would be easily replaced. My valuables, my passport, my money, my tech gear is always with me. Another situation where this is extremely useful is, for example, when we travel by car to Southern Europe. There it's extremely useful when I already have all my valuables inside this bag, when we just make a short stop or have a break to go to the toilet. We always try that there is no luggage visible from the outside, and we also avoid to open our trunk whenever we stop. And I really like much more to just have my things in this bag ready to grab from the back seat and go, instead of having to bring my huge backpack with me when I just need to go to the toilet. Reason number 3 is that it enables us to be much more spontaneous. So we often have longer layovers, or when we travel by train, it takes a few hours until our connection leaves. So this gives us a few hours to explore a city. Now, walking through a city for a few hours with a carry-on backpack is not my definition of fun, to be honest. I mean, even if it's only 7 kilos and I manage to stick to the weight limits, then those 7 kilos get heavier and heavier the longer you walk with it. And in that situation, again, I just quickly put all my valuables inside this pouch and I throw my main backpack into a locker somewhere and I'm good to go. And it's also very useful when we arrive early in our destination, or if we leave later in the day, then we can always just leave our things with the hotel reception and not worry about it at all. The next reason why I love this method is that many times it helped me to get around those very tight weight limits for international flights. So for example, the last time we traveled to Brazil, we had the international flight from Munich to Brazil with Lufthansa. And Lufthansa only allows you 8 kilos for your carry-on backpack. And just as a reference, my pouch with my tech gear and also my iPad with the keyboard, those two things are already around 3 kilos. So they're not very big, but they're very heavy. Plus then you have a backpack that weighs 1 to 2 kilos and then you don't really have much weight left for anything else. But once we were in Brazil, all the domestic connections allowed us 10 kilos. And now for this international flight, this packable bag was extremely useful because Lufthansa allows you to bring a personal item and they don't specify a weight for it. So they're basically just concerned about the size and that it fits under the seat in front of you. So before boarding, I just put my heavy tech and my sling inside this bag. And with that, my main backpack is way under the weight limit. And just as a word of caution, because every airline is different, so always make sure for all the flights you take that you check the specific baggage rules of the airline. But for me, this method has often been a game changer to get around those strict weight limits on international flights. And the last reason why it works so well for me is just the flexibility it gives to me, because for me it's all about having options. And really using those 3 bags is the most flexible way I've found to travel. I can use those 3 bags to really carry my maximum load, or sometimes pick up some overflow items like extra water for bus rides. But I can also always put everything back into my backpack and even become a 1-bag traveler again if it's more convenient. And for that reason, I always try to fill my main backpack to only about 80% because I think not having the bag full to the brim makes traveling much easier. So for me, that's a method that adapts to my trip and not the other way around. And now let's talk about the downsides and some words of caution for this system, because everything has its trade-offs and I think it's important that you are aware of them. So the first word of caution is that there is obviously now the risk of overpacking. For some people, including me in the past, having this extra space can really be a temptation to bring more things than we really need. But the goal is to use this extra space for flexibility and for some short-term items that you pick up along the way. So really try to avoid filling that bag just because it's there. The only exception is when I fly home, I often use this extra space inside my backpack or inside the packable bag to bring home some gifts, and I guess you could also use it for some souvenirs. Downside number 2 is the extra cost, because you need to bring 3 different bags. And as we all know, travel gear is not necessarily cheap. So for me, it was worth investing into this gear because I really travel all the time. But if you just travel every once in a while or just go on a short trip and you want to test this, just use whatever you have. Any packable bag would work, even if it's just a grocery bag. And the third small downside is that obviously there is a small learning curve to this. You have to be deliberate about what goes where in your main bag, so you can easily grab it, what you always have in your sling with you, and also how you can quickly repack your packable bag if you need it. But that is something that, in my opinion, everyone just learns through experience because everybody's travel style is different. But once you've done it a few times, it becomes second nature and it may look like my system or it may look totally different. I'm just sharing what works for me to give you some food of thought. But Everybody travels different. But using these 3 bags gives me a lot of freedom to travel the way I want to. I can be a 1-bag traveler when I'm walking somewhere through the forest, but I can also comfortably carry just smaller loads with me when I explore a city. It gives me a lot of peace of mind because all my valuables are always with me, and it really gives me the ultimate flexibility because I'm not locked into one way of doing things. So let me know what you think. Is this 3 bag something that you would consider, or are you just a die-hard 1-bag traveler? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked this video, then consider subscribing to my monthly newsletter or to this channel. And other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!